All right, let's make some refried beans. Nice and easy, simple recipe, minimal ingredients. Feel free to add whatever you want. Onion, more jalapenos or serranos or something. In regards to soaking beans, you don't have to do it. It'll just take longer to cook, and I don't know if there's a benefit to it or not, but I do it at any rate. So there goes my ingredients: 2 pounds of pinto beans soaked, 6 cloves of garlic, 1 jalapeno, and then I add 5 liters of water. That usually gets me through the full cook without adding more moisture. I usually set a timer for 2 hours, and then typically we'll cook for another 30 to 40 minutes after that. And be cautious when you're getting it up to a boil. You don't want any beans sticking to the bottom of the pot. If they stick to the bottom and burn, it can change the flavor of your beans. So go ahead and turn your heat down to a medium heat. Make sure it's not too hot. This was my check at 2 hours. You always want to try maybe 3 beans, 2 or 3 beans at least. Sometimes if you just try one, that one might have cooked faster or might be smaller, and it might lead you to think that they're done when they're not. So be sure. For the next step, I use a high heat setting. Now let's talk about our fat. Usually I use manteca or lard. When I use lard, I use 16 ounces. Yeah, I use a pound of it. Whereas this is only 1 cup of the Crisco stuff. The reason for that is the Crisco stuff at room temperature is not nearly as thick as the lard is. So you can use any fat you want. You just have to keep in mind that the quantity of that fat for this recipe might very well be different. And then there I also added about 4 big tablespoons of bacon fat. And there goes the salt. And if you use a lot more bacon fat, you're going to want to put a little less salt in it to make sure that you don't end up over salting, because that bacon fat will carry some salt as well. And I just drop a few beans in there to start with, just to make sure that we're good to go. And then start loading them in there. You're going to want to be really cautious here. For one, it's really hot oil. Don't splash yourself. But 2, you don't want anything at this stage sticking to the bottom of the pan either, because we're dealing with a lot more heat. So that can potentially burn stuff really quick. So just make sure that you're stirring it. I do this part for, I don't know, maybe around 8 minutes. But I continue to do it while I'm smashing, which, you might want to lower the heat before you start smashing, just so you have a lower chance of burning yourself. And then we smash. And smash. And smash. And smash. Handheld blender is great if you don't want to do all of this labor. That was the skin from the jalapeno. And I can already tell by the thickness of it that I'm going to want to add some bean juice back into it. Make sure you do not throw away your bean juice until you're sure that your beans are good. This brings in more flavor. You might have to adjust your salt, but it helps you to be able to get the thickness of the beans to where you want them. More smashing. Lots of smashing. This makes a pretty good batch that we run through in our house well before it's going to go bad. And it's a simple thing. Nice to keep around. So that's it. That's the simple, easy refried beans. Let me make sure they're all right. Oh, yeah. No, those are good. I'm going to make some burritos.